So before the video begins, I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of the video, Fan to Fan Network. Now, what the Fan to Fan Network is a network for you guys, for the fans, giving you unbiased and real analysis and perspective. If you guys are tired of the mainstream media, if you're tired of the same old watered down biased takes, and you want a different perspective, unbiased, uncut, and real, make sure that you guys go ahead and check out the Fan to Fan Network. They're going to be streaming live streams almost every day on Twitch. The link will be down in the description in the comment section down below. Make sure you guys go ahead and check out the Fan to Fan.
Growing up as a kid, all a nigga wanna have was a Burberry scarf and $3 in my pocket. Instead I got beat with a switch, but I don't give a fuck, but it's on my body. Scars all up on me, but I run around from.
Dak Prescott is not an elite quarterback. Dak Prescott is not a top 5 quarterback. He's not a top 10 quarterback. He is a solid quarterback. You can win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott, but he's not an elite quarterback. You see, a lot of Dak Prescott fans and Dallas Cowboy fans think that Dak Prescott is an elite quarterback based on stats. Dak Prescott in 2019 had one of the best seasons in the NFL from a quarterback standpoint based on stats. He threw for 4,902 passing yards, 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, completed 65.1% of his passes. And a lot of people think that he is elite, and he's not. Based on stats, Dak Prescott was better than Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, and Russell Wilson. And we already know he is nowhere close to near being as good as those guys are. Those guys are elite. You see, a lot of Dallas Cowboy fans make the excuse that, oh, the coaching staff was bad. Dak Prescott had bad play calling. Let me tell you guys something. When I was in middle school and I used to play quarterback, right? I had one practice when I just went absolutely mad because the coach I felt was calling terrible plays. So I said, Coach, why you keep calling all these dumb behind plays? And the coach pulled me over to the side. He took me out, put another guy in. And on the sideline, he told me, JT, do you know what separates the elite quarterbacks in the NFL from the average quarterbacks in the NFL? The elite quarterbacks in the NFL can take a bad play and turn it into a positive play. They can take a bad play and still get 4 to 5 yards out of it. Versus the average quarterback, if a bad play gets called, the play is over from the snap. That's what separates the great quarterbacks from the average quarterbacks. They can make the most out of bad situations. A elite quarterback makes the guys calling the plays look like masterminds. They elevate the offensive coordinator. They elevate the play caller. Average quarterback is elevated by the guy calling the plays. They don't make the guy calling the plays look good. The guy calling the plays makes them look good. Dak Prescott is only as good as the guy calling the plays. A elite quarterback makes the guys calling the plays look great. Tom Brady made Josh McDaniels look great. Patrick Mahomes makes Andy Reid look great. Because the better the quarterback, the better the play caller is. You've never seen a great quarterback being terrible with a bad play caller. You want to know why? Because elite quarterbacks can elevate the guy calling the plays. Dak Prescott doesn't do that. For Dak Prescott to have success, everything has to go right. Dallas Cowboys fans, when they lose, they always want to say, it's not Dak Prescott's fault. The running game wasn't going, the offensive line wasn't all that great, and Jason Garrett called dumb plays. Now listen, I'm not naive to the fact that Dak Prescott isn't all of the blame for the reason why the Dallas Cowboys didn't make it to the playoffs. Coaching played a large part in the Dallas Cowboys missing out on the playoffs last year. But also, am not naive to the fact that Dak Prescott also deserves a good amount of the blame. Dak Prescott is not an elite quarterback. Dak Prescott is only as good as the guy calling the plays, and he's only as good as the guys who are around him. Tom Brady last year, if we're being honest, should have won the NFL MVP if we actually gave the NFL MVP award to what it actually meant. The most valuable player. No quarterback in the NFL was more valuable than Tom Brady last year. Tom Brady played behind a below-average wide receiver core with a below-average offensive line that was banged up. If you take out Julian Edelman, you can't name me another wide receiver on the New England Patriots roster last year other than Julian Edelman. You guys would probably have to go on Google and look up who the New England Patriots wide receiving core was last year to answer that question. He also had a banged up offensive line. Tom Brady, if we're being honest, was the most valuable player last year. Because if he wasn't on the New England Patriots team last year as their starting quarterback, the New England Patriots probably don't even make it to the playoffs. Well, I'm not even going to say probably. They most likely don't make it to the playoffs, and they most likely are one of the worst teams in the NFL. Now, we give them a benefit of the doubt because they have Bill Belichick, but at the end of the day, you still got to have a quarterback that's more than capable of making plays. So, I mean, Dak Prescott, you make all the excuses in the world for Dak Prescott, the coaching staff and things like that. But at the end of the day, Dak Prescott, when the game is on the line, he folds. He doesn't step up. Against New England, the game was on the line, and he didn't step up. He didn't rise up to the occasion. Against New Orleans, the game was on the line. He didn't step up. He didn't rise to the occasion. When you have a guy who you consider your franchise quarterback, you should be able to say, hey, look, I put in the game in your hands. You go and win the game for me. You're a franchise quarterback. You should be able to do that. It shouldn't be about excuses. It should be about going out there and executing. That's what separates the greats from the average Joes in the NFL. That's what separates Patrick Mahomes from Dak Prescott. Now, a lot of you guys can go off stats and things like that. Stats don't mean anything. Look at Jameis Winston. He was second in the NFL in passing touchdowns last year and had 5,000 passing yards. But that doesn't mean he's a top 10 quarterback, does it? Go back and watch the film. Stop looking at stats. Stats don't mean anything. Mr. Trubisky in 2018 had a higher QBR than Tom Brady. But we knew who the better quarterback was, right? So, stop saying the quarterback is elite based on stats. Stats don't mean anything. Stats look good on numbers, but when you go and watch the actual games, you will know that Dak Prescott is not an elite quarterback. Matthew Stafford is an elite quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is an elite quarterback. Russell Wilson is an elite quarterback. Because they elevate the guys calling the plays, and with the game on the line, you can count on those guys to make plays. Now, a lot of people always say, Dak Prescott gets all the blame when the Dallas Cowboys lose. But when they win, he doesn't get all the credit. Okay, boo-hoo, cry me a river. That's what comes with playing the quarterback position. That's just what it is. That's not just in the NFL. That's in college football. That's in the high school football. That's in middle school football in general. That's what comes with playing the quarterback position. When you're the quarterback, you get all the blame for losing. But when you win, sometimes you get all the blame, you get all the glory, and sometimes other guys get all the glory for winning, right? But that's just what comes with playing the quarterback position. You don't always get the recognition you deserve, and you don't always get the criticism that you're not deserving of. But since you're the quarterback position, and the quarterback is probably the most important position in the NFL, they're the only player in the NFL that has the ball in their hands every play, you're going to get most of the criticism. Just like how Jason Garrett doesn't deserve all the blame for why the Dallas Cowboys didn't make the playoffs last year. It goes hand in hand. He deserves a good amount of blame for why the Dallas Cowboys didn't make it to the playoffs last year, but he doesn't deserve all of it. Dak Prescott against playoff teams last year was 2-7. He had 11 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, but had 2,800 passing yards. When Dak Prescott throws an interception, when Dak Prescott makes a bad throw, when Dak Prescott makes a bad read, that's on Dak Prescott. That's not on Jason Garrett. Now it's on Jason Garrett to put Dak Prescott in positions to win games, which he didn't do a good job of. But Dak Prescott deserves a good amount of blame, and Jason Garrett deserves a good amount of blame. But Dak Prescott is an elite quarterback. What does Dak Prescott do that elevates his team, that makes his team better? Can you tell me that the Dallas Cowboys would have been a lot worse if Andy Dalton was the quarterback last year instead of Dak Prescott? I don't think you can. Does Dak Prescott make the guy calling the plays on the offensive side of the football better? No, he doesn't. Dak Prescott is only as good as the guy that's calling the plays. Dak Prescott is only as good as the guys who are around him. Look what Dak Prescott did before Mark Cooper got there. Didn't really do anything. Look what Dak Prescott did when Ezekiel Elliott was suspended. Didn't do anything. Look what Dak Prescott did when Ezekiel Elliott had less than 100 yards rushing. Dak Prescott is not an elite quarterback. He's only as good as the team that he has around him. And that's not a knock against Dak Prescott. That's just a knock saying that he's not an elite quarterback. Elite quarterback are guys that can carry a team week in and week out on their back. Aaron Rodgers has done it. Patrick Mahomes has done it. Lamar Jackson can do it. Ben Roethlisberger can do it. That's what an elite quarterback can do. Dak Prescott can't carry a team on his shoulders. He's not an elite quarterback. So stop saying Dak Prescott's a top 10 quarterback, a top 5 quarterback based on stats. Because stats don't mean deadly squat. I found out ironic that the quarterbacks that led the NFL in passing yards last year didn't make the playoffs last year. The quarterbacks that had the best stats last year, most of them didn't make the playoffs last year. What does that tell you about stats? I think that should tell you everything that you need to know about stats. Dak Prescott is not an elite quarterback. Point blank, period. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content, and thanks for watching.